Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Project Talks with Ankit. Today, we are diving into a very fundamental topic project stages in PMP, covering both waterfall and agile approaches. This is the foundation you need to understand before we get into deeper PMP concepts in later videos. Now, why project stages matter? According to PMP, every project, whether small or big, benefits from a structured approach. It gives predictability, improves governance, and helps manage risk effectively. Think about it like this: if you're launching a brand new mobile app, you might plan differently than if you're just upgrading an existing one. Different stages, different approaches, but both require structure. Now, one common confusion I see with PMP students is the difference between a project life cycle and process groups. The life cycle is about stages, for example, whether you're following a waterfall model or an agile sprint. Process groups, on the other hand, are the five standard PMP groups: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and finally, closing. These process groups apply across all type of life cycles. It's a key distinction you must remember for the exam. Let's start with waterfall. In a predictive life cycle, we follow a very structured sequence of five stages: initiating, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and finally closing. For example, think of building a metro rail project. Once the design is locked, it's extremely difficult to make changes midway. So, waterfall works best. Now, let me break this down further. Initiating is about the business case and the project charter. Planning is the heart of waterfall: scope, schedule, budget, risk management, and so on. Execution is where the deliverables are actually created. Monitoring and controlling happens in parallel, making sure the project stays on track. And finally, closing. Hand over the deliverables, document lesson learned, and formally shutting down the project. Typical waterfall documents include business case, charter, work breakdown structure, risk register, raid logs, and lesson learned. For instance, say in a mall construction project, a work breakdown structure might break the work into foundation like flooring, interior, and then the handover stages. These documents provide traceability and ensure accountability. Now let's shift to Agile. Unlike waterfall, Agile is iterative and adaptive. The stages are cyclical: product vision, backlog creation, sprint planning, iterative execution, sprint review, and retrospective. A good example here is developing a e-commerce website. You don't release the entire platform in one go, right? So what you do? Instead, you build it sprint by sprint. Maybe start with a shopping cart, then payments, and then customer reviews. Let's simplify this. First, we groom the product backlog. Then we plan the sprint. The sprint executions happens with daily stand up to trace progress. At the end, we hold a review with stakeholders and then retrospective with team to improve next time. The key is continuous improvement and customer feedback. Now, Agile doesn't emphasize on heavy documentation, but it does have artifacts. I repeat, it does not emphasize on heavy documentation, but there are documentations. The product backlog, sprint backlog, burn down chart, and increments are the working products at the end of each sprint. Take a food delivery app, for example. Your backlog could include features like search, order tracking, live chat, and discount offers. The team picks a few of these for each sprint. So, how do Waterfall and Agile compare? Well, Waterfall is predictive, documentation heavy, and usually delivers everything at once. Agile is adaptive, lightweight in documentation, and delivers in increments. If you're constructing an airport terminal, you can't really deliver it in pieces by pieces, can you? That's where the waterfall comes into picture. But if you're upgrading a banking app, you can release features step by step. Now that's agile. Now, from the PMP exam perspective, both approaches are equally important. The PMBOK guide recognizes predictive, agile, and even the hybrid projects. Most real world organizations actually use a hybrid model only. For example, waterfall for infrastructure and agile for software development. So, as a PMP aspirant, you need to understand not just the stages but also how to tailor them to suit the project context. Well, to wrap up, both waterfall and agile have clearly defined stages. The PMP maps these stages to its process groups. In future videos, we will do a deep dive into each stage, starting with initiating and covering the key components, tools, and documents in detail. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Project Talks with Ankit. This is just the beginning. We are going to simplify PMP concepts step by step, so you're fully ready for your exam and real world projects. If you found this video useful, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to Project Talks with Ankit. This is just the beginning. We are going to simplify PMP concepts step by step so you're fully ready for your exam in the real world projects. In case you want to give a feedback, I would love to hear that. Please write that down in comments. Thank you.